So my husband and I are in an interracial relationship, which is not extremely common in our country due to our history, but there are more and more interracial couples out there each day. For context, due to cultural history in our country, some people are more inclined to accept same-sex relationships over interracial. No one makes a public deal about same-sex relationships, but there are instances of interracial relationships between popular figures that are heavily criticized by people. Anyway, so my husband and I are walking by my favorite stationery store. And I'm like a kid in a candy store walking down every single island pointing out things I want to buy, explaining why, and just generally sharing with my husband, who is walking a step back from me with the trolley, just lazily following me down each aisle, patiently listening to what I have to say, because he's amazing lol. He then got distracted down one of the aisles with some gadget, and I just continued down the next aisle when this lady starts following behind, and I kind of just ignored her. Maybe it's not relevant, but she's the same race as my husband. So she walks up to me eventually, and I start walking back to find my husband, and she starts rambling off without a hitch about how she's looking for this specific item, and when she's done, I just look at her and go, "Sorry, I don't work here," and she goes all red in the face and says, "Well, I saw you helping that gentleman and you look like you know what you are doing, so I thought you worked here," and I go, "Well yeah, he's my husband," and shocked and clearly embarrassed, she just looked at me, mumbled sorry and walked away. Meanwhile my hubby heard the whole thing and is laughing his ass off at the whole thing. So this happened a little bit ago. I was working at Walmart during the evening shift, 1 to 10 p.m. shift. I've seen a lot of crap while I worked there. When you work there, the people of Walmart honestly become ingrained in your memory. So this one night I clock out and am shopping around a bit before I go home, still wearing my vest, but wearing a coat over it. It's when I see this really gentle old lady who is walking around. She sees that I'm wearing my vest and asks me in a very polite yet delightfully southern sassy way, "Excuse me young man, can you help me find the hairspray?" Now I didn't work the floor, but work anywhere long enough and you'll know where a fair bit of stuff is. I decided that I can spare a few minutes and tell her, "Of course, it's over in pharmacy, I can show you if you'd like." She took me up on the offer and I helped her find the hairspray as we talked. She was a hoot. She was telling me about how she was a retired police officer back in the day and how she was riding with a local biker club. I know them, they are super nice people with a lot of older people. I helped her find a handful of other things as we just talk. She told me about her late husband who was always the best little crap to her, and that she still loves him and can't wait to meet him after. She was really happy talking about him. She also told me about her daughter's wedding the week before and how she's going to have a nephew soon. After a bit of the amazing conversation, she says that she was going to check out and thanked me repeatedly, and I told her how I was happy to help and was going home myself. She looked a bit embarrassed that I was actually clocked out, but I shot that down with being really happy to just talk with her and thanked her for keeping me company. I know it's not like the other stories of self-entitled rude people, but it was a really nice and I wanted to share. My last post about my pain service experience blew up, so I'll tell some prequel, medical school, stories. 2 things to know about medical school in the US. 1, it's insanely expensive, $250,000 per degree, and 2, we do a bunch of mandatory rotations through certain specialties where we are usually treated like garbage. That also includes Obgyn. When I trained, Obgyn was infamously known as the specialty that eats its young. For a specialty that brings life in the world, they definitely did their best to suck mine out of me. Who knows, maybe it changed in recent years. Anyway, that's the setting. I'm in the labor unit working night shifts, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. The residents, training doctors, and attendings, practicing doctors, in charge of the team, have made it clear to me that in the hierarchy of importance, I am beneath the trash can. So I'm stuck there for 12 hours avoiding them when they're stressed and trying to help to the degree I don't piss anyone off. Lady comes rolling in with 2 other people, and one of the residents tells me to go see her. Me, hi, I'm Is That Really Butter, the medical student with the labor and delivery unit. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions? Patient, just give me a moment. I need to check your aura. Me, what? Side note, I pride myself now on having an amazing poker face, in part because of some batshit things I experienced in medical school. This was one of them. Patient, your aura. I detect oranges and yellows. You're an optimist, aren't you? I need that right now. Come in, come in. Me, thank you, ma'am. I was young and innocent and didn't leave immediately, but my woo-woo senses were screaming. I go through my typical questions about her pregnancy and labor so far, then I ask the dangerous question, do you have a birth plan? She pulls out a laminated binder, opens it, and proceeds to walk me through her incredibly long list of requests, including, no lights, no medications for herself or the baby, no epidurals, regular meditation, keep the placenta, oil diffuser, etc. I think at some point the nurses felt pity on me and one came in to check in. Patient aura checked her too. She was purple, which I don't know what that meant, but she was in. Nurse got pulled into her long explanation of her pink laminated birth Bible. Nurse, ma'am, thank you for showing this to us, but I think you should discuss this with the doctors because some of your wishes we can do, but some we might not be able to meet depending on how your labor goes. Patient, well, I paid good money to be here. I pay for all of you to be here. You can make it happen. Eventually I talk her into letting me have it to show it to the doctor and we step out of the room. Nurse leaves, very ominously saying, she is going to be special. For the next few hours, her room turned into a revolving door as the patient proceeds to hire and fire people based on their auras. How this lady read them, I have no clue, but she ended up firing 4 nurses, 2 residents, a tech, and the janitor because some of them were radiating bad energy and one was too red. She absolutely refused to have any discussion about her birth plan or give any leeway with it because it was decided with her spiritual guru. No one wanted to talk to her because she was too woo-woo. So clearly I'm stuck going into her sage-scented room to appease her whims, including, cleaning her stuff, refilling her oil diffuser, rubbing tea tree oil on weird places, helping her in her yoga positions. Then the labor pain really kicked in. And suddenly, morphine was okay in her birth plan because it was a natural remedy. And the anesthesiologist's piercing green aura was tolerable because he mellowed into a soft matcha. Except, when you give too much morphine to a pregnant woman, the baby also gets it too, and the baby's heart rate was slowing. So I'm stuck telling her she can't get more morphine. Patient, oh thank goodness you're here. I need more morphine, I'm in so much pain. Me, ma'am, I understand you're in pain. However, we can't give you any more. Your baby can't tolerate it. Patient, the baby? The baby is completely fine. I feel him. It's me you should be worried about. I'm the one paying to be here. I'm in pain. I need the morphine. Me, ma'am, the anesthesiologist can discuss giving you an epidural for pain control. It'll be safer for both you and the baby and it'll control your pain. Patient, you want to put that toxin in my body? Didn't you read my birth plan? Absolutely not. I need the morphine. Again, I paid to be here. I pay for your salary. I hired you. Remember, I can fire you. You should be listening to me here. Me, in my 11th hour of being there, she broke me, ma'am, with all due respect, I'm just the medical student. I don't get a salary, I actually pay to be here. Even if you fire me, your doctors, including your anesthesia team, is saying you cannot get more morphine because it is a danger to your baby. I'm sure that the anesthesiologists are happy to discuss any other options for your pain control, which includes an option for an epidural. Patient, fuck those toxins and fuck you. Get out. You're fired too. I knew you weren't a yellow. You were a chartreuse. So I got to go home and collapsed happily in bed. The next day, I check in and I got the full story from the nurses. Apparently, she cracked and got an epidural. Then she went into active labor and hated it so much she demanded it to stop. She underwent general anesthesia for a C-section and delivered her baby. For the rest of the month I was there, all of us had little name tags with our aura colors on it. I was chartreuse. TL, Dr. Aura Reading Lady fires me over morphine and ends up playing herself. Apparently, I look like I work everywhere I go. BC people, usually older people, constantly ask me questions about where to find items in the aisles of stores I frequent. In their defense, I help run a restaurant and usually do know where things are when people ask me for assistance. BC I'm there all the time. After my partner witnessed this phenomenon the other day, he reminded me that this was not new. I guess I've been doing this for quite a while. Flashback to more than 20 years ago when I was living in Cincinnati and my phone hash was one digit away from a doctor's office. This mean old guy would call all the time asking for a ride for his wife and himself to their appointments. I found out later that this was a service they provided for their elderly patients who could no longer drive themselves. No amount of explanation would convince this gentleman that I did not in fact work there and that he had the wrong hash. I finally had enough of this verbal harassment and a huge sigh just asked for his address and the time and date of their next appointment. I then found the doctor's office hash and asked if they could help, but because of privacy laws, they regretfully informed me that they couldn't confirm that they were even patients, even though we both knew that they absolutely knew this couple. With another big sigh, I drove to their house the next day, picked them up and took them to their appointment. The look on the receptionist's face when I walked in the door said it all. "Holy SHT, she said. Please tell me that I didn't just talk to you on the phone yesterday." Yup, that was me. So for 2 years, I would get the call and go pick them up for their appointments. I wish this story ended with the couple being happy and appreciative, but no, he never hesitated to complain that I was late, that my vehicle was difficult for them to get into or that I should look more professional. I would always politely remind him that I didn't actually work there, to no avail. TBH, I kind of loved it. He was such a cranky old bastard and his grumpiness was so incredibly entertaining to me, but his wife, who was obviously suffering from dementia, was such a sweetheart who thought I was some family member doing them a favor. When I moved from that area, I was so super concerned about them and made sure that the office had someone to take my place. The last time I took them, the folks at the office had a bouquet of flowers and a box of bakery cookies for me to wish me well on my adventures. I left them my new contact info and about 6 months later I got an email telling me that Sir Grumpalot had come in for an appointment. The new driver, actually set up by the office this time, and complained the other girl was so much better. Totally warmed my heart as the real reason I even started this was I'd hoped that if either myself or any of my family were suffering from dementia or any other affliction that someone would look past it and help out. I still don't regret giving that crabby old bastard and his sweet lovey wife a ride. TL, doctor, wrong number leads to me giving rides to the doctor for an old couple who never appreciated it as much as I did.